Okay, so let's continue on the DSE paper of the graph of quadratic functions. So we are still on this classwork. Okay, so you may go back to the Math app and to select the classwork on the 8th and the 9th of December. Okay, we have talked about question number 1 and number 3. We skipped question number 2 at the moment because that is involving some other concept. Okay, but I would like to focus on the features of the quadratic graph first. Okay, so 14.05, that is the question number 4 of the classwork. 14.05, that is actually the year of 2014 multiple choice question number 5. Okay, so the figure shows the graph of y equals mx squared plus x plus n. M and n are constants, and then which of the following are true? 嗱，呢題就係好 typical 嘅一題，即係問你咩大過零啊、細過零咁樣嗰啲嘢。Okay, so we have y equals mx squared plus x plus n, and then if you just compare with the y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and then this is the formula. And the formula A will be equal to m, and then formula B will be equal to 1, and formula C is equal to n. Okay. At first, we consider the direction of opening. Okay, consider the direction of opening. Okay, from the equation, we know that the m, okay, so A is equal to m. Our A is equal to m. And then from the graph, we know that the graph, because the graph opens upwards, okay, then we can say that the A, okay, the A should be larger than 0. Okay, and then when we compare the information from the graph and the information from the equation, okay, A larger than 0, and then the A is equal to m, then we can say that m should be larger than 0. Okay, so option A and option B are not correct. So we can eliminate option A and option B. Okay, and then after considering the direction of opening, so we will consider the y-intercept. Okay, consider the y-intercept. From the equation, if we want to find the y-intercept, we will put x to be 0 and then calculate the value of y. Okay, y will be just equal to m times 0 squared plus 0 plus n. That is equal to n. Okay, from the equation, we can find that our y-intercept is equal to n. Okay, y-intercept is equal to n. And then we go back to the graph. From the graph, we can see that the y-intercept, that is this point. Y-intercept is the point where the graph cuts the y-axis. And this point is below the x-axis. Okay, below x-axis means that the y-coordinate, or the y-intercept in this case, will be less than 0. Okay, so the y-intercept should be less than 0. So we have got information from the graph about y-intercept less than 0, and we have got information from the equation where the y-intercept is equal to n. Then we can combine the two information together, and we can get the conclusion that n should be less than 0. Okay, so combining the two results, of m and n. We can say that m is larger than 0, n is less than 0. So the answer should be option C. Can you get this? 好，呢題算係簡單嘅，好直接嘅呢題啊。咁睇下 get 唔 get 到啦，大家。希望大家 get 到啊。其實嚟嚟去去，我哋都係 consider 呢幾樣嘢嘅啫，即係 direction of opening 啦。y-intercept 啦，如果唔得嘅話咧，就要再 consider x-intercept 啦，或者咧嗰個 h value， 即係個 vertex 嘅 h value 同埋 k value。Okay, so this is question number 14.05. And then next question, 14.35. 嗱，留意啦，35題咧，佢算係一個 section B 嘅題目嚟嘅。OK，section A 就係由第1至到第30題。OK，呢個即係30題啦。然之後 section B 就係31至到45題 ，total 45題 MC 嘅。OK， 咁啊由2012年即係第一屆 DSE 到而家為止都係咁樣擺㗎啦，得唔得？咁咧千祈唔好覺得 section B 嘅題目係特別難啊。佢只不過係一啲唔同嘅 topics，OK， 唔同嘅 topics 嚟嘅啫。咁你千祈即係一定唔係用難度嚟到分嘅。OK，section A、section B 係唔同嘅 topics 嚟嘅啫，咁樣樣。OK， 我哋睇睇咯 ，14.35. So let f(x) be 3x squared. So f(x) is a function. It is 3x squared minus 6x plus k, where k is a constant. If the y coordinates of the vertex of the graph of y equals fx is 7, then k is what? So can you see that the keyword here is the vertex? Okay, so we are considering something about the vertex of this graph. So we cannot just keep the equation in the ABC form. We have to change the equation from ABC form to the AHK form. It's okay? Because we are going to consider the vertex of the graph. Okay? So let us change the equation to be the AHK form first. So take out the A, minus 2x, and then plus k, and then 3x squared minus 2xy, and this time y is equal to 1, and then plus y squared minus y squared, okay, plus k, and then the first free term becomes x minus y squared minus 1 plus k, and multiplying the 3 back to the bracket, minus 3 plus k, okay? So now it is in the form of a times x minus h squared plus k. Can you see this in this form? Okay, and now we can compare that because the question tells us that the y coordinates of the vertex is equal to 7. So that is the k value is equal to 7. But what is our k value? Our k value is equal to negative 3 plus k, right? Therefore, we can say that negative 3 plus k should be equal to 7. So k should be equal to 10. Okay, so that is how we can find the value of k. Can you get this? So the answer is option D. 好，呢題都算係簡單嘅，得唔得？嚟去去都係咁樣咋，係嘛？即係佢俾個未知數你，但係俾咗一個資料你，你睇下俾你個資料係啲乜嘢嚟嘅 ？OK， 咁你就自己喺嗰堆未知數嗰堆 equation 裏邊揾翻個資料一次出嚟先 ，OK， 然之後就 put 佢等於嗰個數字，係嘛？咁然之後咧搞掂 ，OK。Next one， 15.08。好，又係呢咩 A 大過0啊 ，B 大過0嗰啲啦。好，睇下今次有冇咩特別先啊？So this time y is equal to a times x plus b square. OK， 我又寫翻個 formula 出嚟先啊 ，y is equal to a times x minus h square plus k is the formula AHK form. OK, and now it is like this. So the a is formula a is small letter a, and then formula h should be negative b， 呢度小心啲啊，係 negative b 嚟嘅，得唔得 ？And then the formula k is equal to 0 this time. Can you get this? Okay, and then we will try to find out some information from the graph. Okay, but from the equation, we will consider the direction of opening first. Okay, from the equation, we know that the formula A is equal to A, and from the graph, we can see that the graph opens upwards. Okay, which means that the A should be larger than 0. Okay, so comparing the information from the graph and the information from the equation, okay, we can say that, we can conclude that the small letter a should be larger than 0. Okay, so that is option A and B must not be correct. Get it? And then we will consider the other thing. This time, because the equation given to us is in AHK form, so it is better to consider the vertex instead of considering the y-intercept. Can you see this? 呢度小心啲喎。嗱，呢度咧，我記得咧之前有同學錯過一次嘅，記住呢一個位，呢一個 K 呢個位咧，並不是 y-intercept 嚟嘅，因為佢唔係 ABC form， 佢係 ABC form 嘅話，臨尾嗰個冇諗住 x 嗰個數字就係個 y-intercept。但係而家係 AHK form 嘅話咧，呢一個 K 咧，只不過係個 vertex 嘅 y 坐標。而家嚟講咧，呢幅圖嚟講嘅話咧，見唔見到 vertex 喺邊度啊 ？The vertex is here. Okay, and it is obvious that the vertex is lying on the x-axis, right? Okay, so the HK, H, and the K is equal to 0 because this point is lying on the x-axis. Okay, so this is the x coordinate is H, and then the y coordinate is 0. Can you get this? So we are going to consider the vertex. Okay, consider the vertex from the equation. From the equation, we know that the vertex, the coordinates of the vertex should be h value, that is negative b, and then k value. Can you see this? Okay, and then from the graph, we can see that the x coordinates of the vertex should be less than 0. Do you know why? Okay, because the vertex is lying on the left-hand side of the y-axis. Okay, so a point on the left-hand side on the middle line will have the x coordinates less than 0. So that should be negative x coordinates, which means that the h value should be less than 0. Okay, but from the equation, we know that the h value is equal to negative b, right? And now from the graph, we know that h is less than 0. So combining the two informations, we can conclude that negative b should be less than 0. But if negative b is less than 0, then how about the b itself? B itself should be a positive number. Okay, if the negative of B is negative, then B itself should be positive. Okay? Therefore, we can see that B is positive. Okay, so combining the results, A is positive, B is positive. So the answer is option D.
唔好意思啊，老師，我想問一問2017嘅23條，因為其實我喺度諗緊個 slope，唔係呢度嘅，係
喺度嘅，喺邊度㗎？係呢度，係咪呢度啊？
係啊，2017第23條。
呢個
呢度咧，我要 compare 個 slope 啦，但係其實我就唔知點解一開頭就調轉咗方向，但我又睇完答案之後，我又唔知點解自己錯，咁我就係個
你 send 俾我睇啊，好嘛？你 send 俾我睇，你計啲咩？
唔該，老 Sir。
啊 ，OK。Let's come back to this. So we have done the 15.08, and then next one will be 16.09. (16.09) 好嗱，呢度咧你打粒星落去喎，呢一題啊，打粒星落去。嗱，因為咧，即係佢出咗幾年呢種咁嘅題目啦，然之後咧，發覺大家都都幾識做喎，係嘛 ？OK， 同埋都幾簡單嘅，頭嗰幾年啊，咁跟住16年咧就開始有啲變化㗎啦，嗰啲嘢。我睇下佢咧個最大，我自己覺得最大嘅變化喺邊一度咧？其實就係佢俾你嘅呢一條式，佢並唔係一個真正嘅 AHK form 嚟嘅。點解啊？睇清楚呢度喎，佢話 y is equal to ax plus 1 bracket square plus a. Okay, can you see that? What is our AHK form? It is y equals a times x minus h bracket square plus k. Okay, this is the original AHK form. But what is this now? There's an a multiplying to the x inside the bracket. Okay, inside the bracket. So it is not a pure AHK form. Can you see this? 咁我哋應該點做咧？咁好簡單嘅啫。嗱，我哋而家咧將佢轉翻做 AHK form 先。呢個咧係開頭呢一年嘅時候咧，啲同學未必好識做嘅。The square is unchanged, and then we will take out the a inside the bracket. But there is no a for the one term, the constant term 1. Then we will compensate by dividing this to be by an a. Can you get this? Okay, and then we will move this a out of the square bracket. 嗰個二次方係分俾嗰個 a 嘅。Okay, so y is equal to a square times a plus 1 over a square plus a. OK， 好啦，跟住咧，佢就問你以下邊一個會係可以代表到呢個 graph 咧咁樣樣。好啦，嗱，咁我哋睇睇咯。而家我哋有呢個啦，係咪？咁我哋 compare with 嗰個 AHK form 嘅話咧 ，this one is already the AHK form. Okay, the formula A is equal to a square, and then the formula H will be equal to negative 1 over a. And the formula K will be equal to A. Can you get this? OK， 呢度得唔得？好啦，咁如果咁嘅話咧，我哋首先 consider the direction of opening 先。不過今次咧就唔係有個 graph 俾咗你嘅，佢係問你以下邊有個 graph 可以符合到我哋呢幾個 AHK 數值砌出嚟嘅 一個 quadratic graph 咧咁樣樣。OK， 但係咧我哋知道咧 a is a square，but a square must be larger than 0. Can you see this? No matter whether a is positive, a itself is positive or negative. After being squared, the value of a square must be positive. Okay? So if the formula A is positive, then we can conclude that the graph must open upwards. Can you get this? Which means that option A and option C must be wrong. Okay? So we can eliminate option A and option C first. Okay? How about option B and option D? 好啦，有啲咩分別咧 ？Option B 同 Option D 呢一個咧就麻煩少少啦。睇下先，係啦，呢一個咧你望一望啦，我哋點樣去分辨到 Option B 同埋 Option D 咧？其實佢哋嘅 vertex 大家都係喺右下角嗰一格，即係佢哋嘅 x 坐標啊 ，vertex 嘅 x 坐標都係正數 ，vertex 嘅 y 坐標都係負數嚟嘅，係咪？所以咧，我哋唔可以用 vertex 去到分辨到究竟 B 同埋 D 邊一個係啱，邊一個係錯嘅。咁 B 同 D 有啲乜嘢分別咧？我睇睇咯。嗱，呢個有一個好明顯分別嘅就係個 y-intercept。Can you see this? In option B, the y-intercept is below x-axis. That is negative. And then in option D, the y-intercept is above x-axis. So that will be positive. So we can calculate the y-intercept from the equation and to see whether it is positive or negative. If our calculated y-intercept is positive, then the answer will be option D. But if our calculated y-intercept is negative, then the answer will be option B. Okay, so now we need to consider the y-intercept. Okay, consider the y-intercept. Okay, from the equation, we need to put x to be 0. Okay, and y will be equal to a times 0 plus 1 square plus a. And then you get that y is equal to 1 plus a. But how do we know whether 1 plus a is larger than 0 or less than 0? 咁呢度咧，我哋成日都會漏咗一啲嘢嘅，就係呢一句。Can you see this? Negative 1 is less than a and is less than 0. Because it is given that negative 1 is less than a. Okay, but if negative 1 is less than a, I just add the 1 back to the right-hand side. You can see that 0 is less than a plus 1. Which means that a plus 1 should be larger than 0. Which means that our y-intercept should be larger than 0. Can you see this? Because we have already found that the y-intercept is equal to 1 plus a. And now from the question, we know that 1 plus a or a plus 1 should be larger than 0. So the y-intercept should be larger than 0. Which means that the answer is option D. Can you get this? 嗱，呢題真係要打聲落去啦，因為咧有陣時未必諗到嘅，得唔得？好，呢度1709同頭先嗰題咧好相似嘅，我呢度俾2分鐘你 諗一諗先 ，OK， 2分鐘啊。
阿 Sir，
係，
我想問你可唔可以趁呢段時間講下 Supplementary Exercise 5嘅48同埋50噃
Supplementary exercise 5係咪喺 classwork 裏邊㗎？
唔係，
唔係嘅，我可能要開本書出嚟先。
因為我 research 咗揾你。
好啊，好啊，好啊，好啊。
Thank you。
OK，等我哋落咗堂先講好嘛？
好啊，唔該。
雍正資料題都係啊，我陣呢度我落咗呢一堂先再同你講翻。
好，唔該，老 Sir。
Okay. 好嗱，1709呢題咧，其實咧佢個 setting 同頭先個題咧好似嘅，但係咧佢嘅問嘅嘢咧就同頭先咧啱啱調翻轉 ，OK？今次咧佢就俾咗個 graph 嚟㗎啦，唔係問你以下邊一個先係個 graph 咁樣樣 ，OK？ 得唔得？咁就問翻你邊個大過0啊，細過0咁樣樣。但係咧又係啦 ，the function is y equals px plus 5 square plus q，OK？ And this is not in the perfect AHK form. Like this. So we are going to change this to be a perfect AHK form first by taking out the p. Like this. I'm sorry. Okay. And then distribute the square to the p and to the bracket. Like this. So our formula A should be p squared. Formula H should be -5 over p. And then formula K should be Q. Can you see this? OK? 好嗱，今次咧我哋要有啲咩考慮到咧？個 A 嗱，今次咧我哋唔係想揾究竟佢係一個咩 graph 嚟㗎？今次咧個 A 係 P 嘅二次 ，P 嘅二次係大過0係咪？跟住個 graph 就係 opens upwards。我哋可唔可以講到？我哋可唔可以淨係憑 P 二次大過0就可以講到 P 本身自己係大過0定細過0咧？係唔可以㗎噃，因為無論 P 係大過0定係細過0都好咧，佢二次咗之後咧都係大過0嘅。所以咧，我哋喺個 direction of opening 嗰度咧係講唔到任何結論出嚟嘅，得唔得？呢度嗱，我哋都要知道喎，呢個留意喎，即係我哋唔係淨係識得用啲乜嘢嘢去到計到啲乜嘢嘢，我哋都希望知道埋咧咁樣嘅情況底下。我哋係計唔到，我哋係做唔到結論嘅。OK， 呢個我覺得係緊要啲嘅喺邏輯上邊啊。OK， 即係話咧，我講多次，呢一個位咧，我想你學識嘅就係，如果我哋淨係考慮 A， 即係 formula A value， 然之後 consider 個 direction of opening 嘅話咧，我哋係講唔到任何結論出嚟嘅，講唔到個 P 本身。究竟係大過0定係細過0嘅？因為 P 二次，我哋而家只係得啲乜嘢嘢咧？我哋只係得 P square 係大過0。如果我哋 compare 個 equation 嘅 A value 啦 ，compare 個 graph 嘅 direction of opening 嘅話咧，我哋只可以得出咩結論咧？就係 P square is larger than 0。但係我哋可唔可以由 P square 大過0講翻 P 自己？究竟係正數定負數咧？就唔可以嘅，因為無論 P 係正數或者係負數都好， 都會有 P 2次大過0呢個結果㗎啦。我哋而家眼前只係見到 P 2次大過0啫，我哋根本就估唔到究竟佢本身啊 P 本身係一個正數定係負數嚟嘅，好唔 OK？ 所以咧，我哋唔可以憑住 direction of opening 去到得出任何結論呢一樣嘢 ，OK？ 得唔得？好啦，咁如果唔得嘅話咧，我哋要第二啲嘢㗎咯喎。咁我哋有 H value and K value 係咪？即係我哋有個 vertex 啦。Okay, so we consider the vertex from the graph. The vertex is here. It's on the bottom left corner. Okay, bottom left box, which means that the x coordinate should be negative. Okay, and the y coordinate should also be negative. Do you understand what I mean here? Both the x coordinates and the y coordinates are also negative numbers. So now, when we compare with our h value and k value, we can do this. So from the graph, we know that h should be less than 0. But from the equation, we know that h is equal to -5 over p. So we can say that -5 over p should be less than 0. But 5 over p itself should be larger than 0, right? But this is a fraction. The upper part is positive, and the result is positive. So what can the lower part be? Should it be positive or negative, such that the whole fraction is a positive number? Okay, we can think about this easily. P should be larger than 0. Okay. Also, from the equation and from the graph, we know that the k value is also less than 0. But from the equation, we know that our k value is equal to q. So q should be less than 0. Okay, so we have the conclusion that p should be larger than 0 and q should be less than 0. So the answer should be option C. Can you get this?好，講多題啊。呢條好簡單啫。Which of the following statements about the graph y equals 16 minus x minus 6 square is true? Okay, so obviously this is in AHK forms, -1 x minus 6 square plus 16, and then a is equal to -1, h is equal to 6, and k is equal to 16. Okay, so from the a value, so we know that because a is -1, which is less than 0, we can say that the graph opens downwards. Okay, which means that option B is not correct. Okay, and then 嗱，不過呢度咧，我哋雖然有 H value 同埋 K value， 但係你望一望佢剩翻嗰三個咧 ，option A、option C、option D 咧，都冇一樣嘢係關於個 vertex 或者 axis of symmetry 嘅事嘅。咁所以咧，呢一個 AHK 咧，其實冇乜用嘅，係咪？咁我哋睇一睇啦。如果我哋睇下個 y-intercept 先啦。If we put x to be 0, then y is equal to 16 minus 0 minus 6 square. Okay, and that should be equal to -20. So the y-intercept should be equal to -20, but option C says that the y-intercept is 16, so option C is not correct. Okay, 我睇埋 D 先 ，the graph passes through the origin， 咁即係穿過00嗰點。咁我哋試下咧， put 0, 0. And then the left-hand side is 0. The right-hand side, see whether it is also equal to 0. So 16 minus 0 minus 6 squared. It is equal to negative 20. So left-hand side is not equal to right-hand side. Okay? Which means that the graph does not pass through the origin. Okay? Which means that option D is also not correct. Okay? Oh, option A 點解會 correct 啊 ？Cuts the x-axis， 即係有 x-intercept. So when we put y equals 0, then we will solve for x. 0 is equal to 16 minus x minus 6 squared. Okay, and then you just expand the bracket, minus x squared minus 12x plus 36. And then you get 0 equal to negative x squared plus 12x minus 20. Okay, and then this is a quadratic equation, and you just consider the delta. Okay, delta is equal to b squared minus 4 times a times c, which is equal to 64, which is larger than 0, which means that there are two x-intercepts. Okay, which means that option A should be correct. Okay, so that is correct. That is okay. That's question number 18.05. Can you get this? 好，咁今日呢一堂，咁我哋講咗，咁講唔晒嘅，咁但係剩翻嘅啫，都係差唔多類似嘅啫。OK，咁你可以試下做埋另外嗰一題佢啦，咁樣樣。So if there is no more problem, then that's the end of this lesson, and you may leave now. Okay, if you have problem, you may stay behind.
老師。
好，李先生，你講你係啊。
Supplementary exercise 5嘅48同埋50題。
嗱。
48係點講好咧？第二個 statement 就係我唔識睇呢啲咁樣嘅呢啲，總之唔識睇呢樣嘢啦。即係第三咧就係點解唔係零嘅？
我仲未撈到本書啊，等下。
我唔記得你慢慢嚟。
multiple choice 嚟㗎。
係啊。
Supplementary exercise 5。第58。
48同埋
48。OK。你唔識睇邊一個啊？你話
，sorry。Statement 2同埋 Statement 3。
好嗱 ，Statement 3先啦 ，Statement 3先。axis of symmetry 嗱呢個係可以計到嘅 ，y 等於3x square 係咪？如果講親 axis of symmetry 嘅話咧，一定係用我成日所講嘅 AHK form 咁樣樣，得唔得？跟住個 axis of symmetry 就係 x equals h 咁樣樣，係咪？即係認到個 h value 之後咧，咁個 axis of symmetry 就係 x 等於 h 啦。咁而家呢度咧肯定錯㗎啦 ，statement 3， 因為咧個 axis of symmetry 一定唔會係 y 等於數字嘅，得唔得？一定係 x 等於 number， 因為一定係 vertical straight
哦
line 嚟，
係喎，佢問我 Y 喎。
係嘛？
哦係喎。
咁所以而家呢度咧，嗱，如果你真係要睇嘅話咧，係咪可以寫做咁樣㗎 ？x 即係咁樣。OK， 所以咧應該個 axis of symmetry 咧呢一題啊嘅 axis of symmetry 應該係 x 等於0嚟嘅，就唔係 y 嘅。
睇錯咗 X 咯。
係嘛？見到？
啊。
OK， 好，跟住 statement 2嗰度咧，基本上我哋係唔會考呢啲咩 narrow 啊咁樣嗰啲㗎啦，其實。咁但係咧，你都可以識下嘅咧，就係先嚇。即係我哋唔會用 narrow 啊呢個字嘅，其實因為呢個好 fake 嘅，唔係一個準確字嚟嘅。如果佢而家呢度有一個咁樣嘅axis 先啦，x axis 啦，然之後 y axis 啦，咁樣。咁跟住咧嗰個 curve 咧3x 二次，sorry。咁 opens upwards 啦，係嘛 ？y 等於3x 二次 ，OK。咁咧跟住咧另一個咧就係1/3嘅 x 二次。咁究竟邊一個會係窄啲咧？我哋就話啦，你睇睇當 x 等於1嘅時候，呢一個 curve 嘅嗰點咧嘅高度，如果你代翻 x 等於1入去嘅話咧 ，y 係咪等於3啊 ？OK，put x 等於1嘅話咧，個 y 咧應該等於3嘅。咁但係如果你諗一諗啦，我哋 put 個 x 等於1落去呢一度，呢一個新嘅 function 1/3x square 呢個 function 嘅時候咧，個 y 只不過係1/3啫喎，即係呢度嚟嘅喎，係嘛 ？OK， 當 x 等於1嘅時候，大家都係 put x 等於1，跟住個 y 咧應該係1/3，咁即係話咧，另外嗰個 graph 咧3/1x 個 graph 咧，應該當 x 等於1嘅時候咧，就喺呢一個位嘅，呢度見唔見到？咁所以咧，其實咧，
佢先佢係點嚟㗎？
聽唔到邊個點嚟㗎
？x 點解等於1嘅
？x 等於1係自己設嘅啫，自己 put 嘅，容易計啲。OK， 即係當我哋其實你揀 x 等於2、x 等於3、x 等於10都得嘅。OK， 但係是但揀一個位去到 compare 得唔得？揀一個位去到 compare 嘅啫。OK， 咁我哋揀咗 x 等於1，因為容易計啲啦。x 等於1嘅時候咧，上邊3x 二次呢個 function 嘅 function value 就係3啦，但係1/3x square 呢一個 function 嘅 function value 就係1/3。咁所以咧，大家都係即係當大家行到 x 等於1呢個位嘅時候咧，1/3x square 呢個 function 應該係低啲嘅。嗱，大家嘅 vertex 都係00個點㗎。係咪咁樣樣啊？記唔記到啊？呢個咧 y 嚇記唔記到啊？
睇先。哦，即係佢個 vertex。係啦。哦，我明啦，咁。
個 vertex 係咪都係00嗰度啊？
啊。
OK， 咁定咗個 vertex 先啦，大家都係即係穿過00呢點啦。OK， 然之後我哋就揾一點。即係 x 等於求其一個數，跟住咧就睇一睇咧邊一個 graph 會係高啲，咁嘅時候咧佢就會係成個就係即係扁啲咁樣啦，或者 narrower 啦，就係所謂嘅係嘛？所以咧應該就係3x 二次呢個 graph 咧就真係 narrower than 1/3x 二次呢一個嘅 ，OK？ 咁所以呢個題嘅答案應該係咪 B 嚟㗎？
係啊。
係啦，冇錯，記唔記？
同埋我想問下50題。
好啊。好嗱，呢度咧，其實你係咪有三個 point 係喺個 graph 嗰度啊？咁咧，仲有兩個咧係 x-intercept 嚟嘅，係咪？咁其實咧你可以 let 佢咧，你可以 let 個 y 咧係等於我哋除咗咧有一個ABC form 啦、AHK form 啦，其實你仲可以咁樣嘅。
啊？
知唔知我講咩？
我學過未㗎？
嚇？嗱呢個咧呢個我未
我學過未？
講嘅，呢個我未講過嘅，其實因為我未遇到呢啲咩題目嘅。咁咧嗱，因為 alpha 同埋 beta 就係個 x-intercept 嚟嘅，即係嗰兩個 roots 嚟嘅。OK， 嗰兩個 roots。咁我哋因為咧嗱呢兩個咧負5同埋2嘅話咧，當你 put 個 x 等於2嘅時候，個 y 係等於0係咪？咁所以我哋咪應該會有一個 x 減2呢個 factor 喺度。然之後咧，當你 put 個 x 等於負5嘅時候咧，個 y 又會等於0喎，係嘛？所以咧，我哋應該有一個 x 加5呢個 factor 喺度啊，即係呢個 function 裏邊。咁我哋咁樣處理呢個 function 嘅時候咧，先可以做到當你 put x 等於2嘅時候，個 y 等於0，同埋當你 put x 等於負5嘅時候，個 y 等於0咁樣。呢度 get 唔 get 到先
get 應該 get 到啩？
係啦，咁但係做個 A 喺度喎。你記唔記得你有一次測驗嘅時候咧，係咪冇做到呢個 A 啊？記唔記得啊？我咪話咁樣嘅。咁咧，但係咧，我而家呢個 A 咧係仲有啲咩資料可以揾翻出嚟咧？仲有個 y-intercept 係咪？咁我哋就 put 個 y-intercept 嗰個坐標嚇。
係啊，我都係咁講。
係啦 ，OK， 係啦，冇錯，即係0、4啦，係嘛？咁當 y 等於4嘅時候，咁 A 咧，唔係 sorry x 咧就會等於0啦，係咪啊 ？OK， 咁我哋計埋個 A， 呢個應該係4等於係咪負10A？ 咁所以 A 咧就係負2 over 5嚟嘅 ，OK。咁所以咧，我哋成個 function 就砌到出嚟啦，即係負2 over 5乘以 x 減2乘以。
哦，我明啊。
明？
好啊 ，thank you。
OK，good， 好，咁認知咧。
喺呢度咧，我唔知點解個 slope，我覺得唔係好似大王咁咯。我諗嘅方法就係
頭先係幾多年話 ？sorry，
我睇翻
17年。
17年嘅第23條。
23題。好，你 statement 1同埋2係咪都計到㗎啦？應該。
係啊，我就係個 statement 1嗰個 slope，我唔知點解。
哦。
方向唔啱咯。
OK， 好嗱，我哋睇睇喎。L1 先啦。x 加 my 等於 n， 咁跟住個 slope 咧，即係 M1 咧，應該計到係幾多嚟㗎？係咪呢個？OK。
係啊。
L2 就係 x 加 py 等於 q， 咁即係個 M2 咧 ，slope 2咧就應該係負1 over p 啦，係嘛？
係，但係就喺呢個位嘅時候，我就分唔到邊個斜啲啦。但係冇理由分唔到噶嘛，本身係 L2 斜過 L1，所以 L2 嘅 slope 係會大過 L1。冇
錯。嗱，不過呢度咧，我哋 compare 兩條線嘅 slope 之前，我哋要做一樣嘢先。點解咧？因為咧嗱，你而家咧係咪話M2 大過 M1 係咪 ？M2 大過 M1 呢個冇錯嘅，但係咧，你當你 put 翻呢個負1 over P 大過負1 over Q 落去嘅時候，下一步你會做啲咩嘢？啊，唔係 sorry M 嚟嘅，唔係 P 啊，唔係 Q， 呢個 M。下一步你會做啲咩咧？下一步咪乘翻個 P 過去。
係啊，我揾到我睇翻條式先。其實係啊，我已經知道即係咁樣轉嘅時候會點啦。但係個問題係就係個答案佢寫咗 slope of M1 大過 slope of M2 咯。誒，點解嘅？你住先。slope of M2 唔係，點解唔係？嗱，而家 L2 嗰條咧就唔係個答案錯，係我諗法錯咗。個 L2 應該係斜過 L1 嘅。咁點解 L2 嘅 slope 大過 L1 咧？
斜啲個 slope 咪大啲咯，係嘛？
係啊，跟住等陣我寫啲咩啊？
係啦，我知你錯咩啦。嗱就係呢度嘅，其實我就係想講呢度嘅。嗱你做呢度，你係咪圈住紅色嗰度咧？
係啊，
你圈得啱啦，就係嗰位錯㗎。OK， 就係嗰位錯。點解咧？嗱呢度咧，你咪做到呢個嘅1/p 係 less than 1/m 嘅，係嘛？呢個啱嘅，呢個啱嘅。但係下一個 step，你係咪變咗做 m 細過 p 咁樣啊？
係。
呢個就係錯嘅。知唔知點解錯咧？
點解啊？
因為咧喺條不等式裏邊，你要將一個數乘過去對面或者除過去對面嘅話咧，你記住係要 make sure 咧，究竟即係嗰個數咧，究竟係大過0定係細過0先嘅。OK。
明白。OK。
唔係喎，咪先 ，sorry。
係我本身第一步比較個 slope 已經錯咗啦。
係喎，你係 sorry，你第一步已經錯咗，應該係。係
啊，第一步已經錯咗。
係啦。
睇唔清楚個 slope。
係。其實
我而家睇到啦。
咁樣。咁同埋咧，嗱，我呢度想講咧就係咧，其實呢一個 M1 咧係咪大過0㗎？M2 咧都大過0㗎。所以其實咧，我想講咧個 M 咧應該係負數嚟嘅，同埋個 P 咧都係負數嚟嘅。
我想問有咩情況就細過0，就係反方向係咪啊？個 slope
講一次。
即係撇咗去另一邊嘅時候就會細過0個 slope。
個 slope 細過0。
係啊。
係啦。
細過0嘅話，另一邊。
係啦，即係嗱，你記住咧，好似個八字咁樣啊，我話咁樣。
明白。係。
呢個就係正，呢個就係負。
明白。
OK。
我想問
係
DSE 第2014年嘅第38條。
2014嘅38條。
我想問呢度點睇個？
呢個未教嘅喎，應該呢個係 Form 5下學期先教嘅。
我明白，唔緊要啦，唔該老師。
唔使做住，呢個唔使做住啊。
唔該老師。
OK，仲有冇其他？
冇啦，唔該你。
好 OK， 好，拜拜。
拜拜。
拜。
唔係，我哋仲有 supplementary 最後嗰條，我 form 唔到條 equation。
邊條
？44條。
44。
係 long crack 佢 part A。
先啊，呢條。
係。
Sausage shop sells German sausage as a price of 5蚊 ，cost of each 2蚊 ，quantity。
我 send 咗俾你睇我點樣 form 嗰條式，但係其實嗰條式就錯咗，跟住我就唔知喺邊度錯啦。
好，或者我轉頭覆你好嘛？喺 WhatsApp 嗰度 ，OK， 因為我都準備下一堂先，而家要。
唔該老師。
好嘛？
慢慢啦你。
好，我稍後覆你啊。